up, my AKA Padders? Welcome to the channel. Peter A. DeLuca here. If you're new here, this is where we do pop culture hot takes, we do pop culture news, we do insight, and we do a lot of drawing. I live stream nearly every single day. Join me, and we can hang out and draw. I have a lot of my AKA Padders. We're already working towards our second volume, or like our second issue of our AKA Pad community created comic book. That's going to be lit, guys. Thank you so much for that. So let me just grab my coffee here. I just want to, like, we're going to go through a lot of points here. We're talking about Peter Pan. You know, it's all over social media now because Disney's doing a live action remake, and a lot of opinions out there, as valid as they are, and trust me, they're 1,000% valid in the aspects of the wokeness. They're valid positions. But, and before we get into that this is one of my favorite mugs, like, of all time. It's actually like a Stein, but it's Terminator 3D. And we gotta do some reminders. And this is, we're connecting the dots here. This is why they call me the eclectic one. You know how many people forget that Terminator 3D or Terminator 2 3D was the proper sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day? People forget about this story and this adventure, which was basically written, created by James Cameron, you know, while he was still like while he was still Terminator James Cameron. And I believe this was directed by St. Winston, the greatest creature designer in Hollywood history. But let me take a sip. We got some of this to get into. I took some quick notes. All right. My whole relationship with Peter Pan outside of the name is, I remember getting ready to go to school. And my local Fox affiliate would have Peter Pan and the Pirates, 1990. This, and you know, I'm showing it to you. Now, I always love the opening intro for this, like the music, the animation, very tight, awesome. I love the idea that Peter Pan is brown instead of green. Again, making a difference between, at that time, its closest like competitor was the Disney version of Peter Pan. And this was just amazing. And Peter Pan and the Pirates is what I consider to be like the best extension of the mythology of Peter Pan. Now, that goes into Hook. I remember seeing Hook in the theater. Hook was potentially, I would say like Hook and maybe Batman and Robin. Like a two-headed dragon, but incredibly disappointed when I saw Hook. I never connected with the movie at the time. And it's mostly because I, like, in my younger brain, my expectations were like all the way over here for what I thought that movie was going to be. As I've grown older, we get wisdom, we get more knowledge, we fill up the gray matter. Every time I watch Hook, I see something different. I see something new. I like the arc of Hook. I compare so much of Hook to Wrath of Khan, which is like the passing of the guard. So, when it comes to what I view as live action perfection of Peter Pan, we go to, what year was it? 2003. This version, again, you know, I'm talking over some of the images, some of the footage of this one. Absolute perfection. Absolutely. There, nails it. I'm actually a fan of the 2015. The Hugh Jackman, Pan. Big fan of that. So, and then we get to this guy, Charles Frohman. And this is what's upsetting to me. So many commentators, so many idea creators, so many people who almost like hijack part of Disney's outrage advertising and outrage marketing. And they kind of take this moral high ground. And the moral high ground is we're saving pop culture and we don't want Peter Pan to be woke. It's not working. We have numbers. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these numbers, a lot of these reasons, they call it get woke, go broke. A lot of the guts of what's in some of the takes, some of the analysis, we'll call it. It's to be determined. There's a conversation around it. It's not really a hot take. With that being said, Charles Frohman, I mean, his picture's been up here for a little bit. Charles Frohman he's the guy. But anyway, so this Charles Frohman guy, he essentially says, look, if we're going to do this play, we have a scaling issue. We have a deep scaling issue. Why can we just put Peter Pan make Peter Pan a girl? Can we do that? Imagine if that was done today. Imagine if Peter Pan became a woman on stage for scaling purposes, for production purposes, nothing, no activism behind it. People, regardless of that, regardless of the guts of that decision, would lose their minds. People would be monetizing that. We don't do that here. Okay, so Charles Frohman wasn't going woke. He didn't go broke. And everything that's happening with this Disney, the Tinkerbell, the girls that correct Wendy when they're like, so, you're not Lost Boys, so. And then we get to a deeper point. Point number one, by the way, is technically by today's standards, Peter Pan has always been woke. Think about that. But we know that's not true. 2022, upcoming, we have this Lost Girls movie. We have Come Away. We have the 2020 Wendy. Look at everything that's right over here. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this. We need visuals. Where was this positioning? Where was this outrage when these three movies were proposed, were dropped? Even when the posters were designed and circulated and posted on IMDb. And I'm only saying IMDb because it's a source, okay? It's a reference. Okay? We have movies, we've had takes on Peter Pan, regardless of wokeism or not. We've had woke takes already. We've had woke takes already in production outside of the Disney live action remake. So, this is a bigger issue, and the bigger issue, quite simple. If you don't like it, don't promote it. Secretly root for its failure. Let these ideas circulate into the populace, into the culture, into the marrow, into the fabric of those of us who do love pop culture. Let these ideas have a chance. And if these ideas don't have merit, if they do corrupt the stories, if they don't add, if they only subtract or confuse, then let them die. You have to let the market test the ideas. And if the market likes the ideas, we get more. If the market doesn't, we get less. Number two, it's hard to come look, I know I was very critical for Quantumania, critical for Thor, Love and Thunder, just in some of the anticipation of how some of that material was going to get received. With all of that, and I've said this before, I always want to be proven wrong. I root to be proven wrong. Because material is material. Content is content. You should never root against someone else's hard work. You should never do it. The reason is because we still want to incentivize people to be productive, to be imaginative, to swing for the fences and take chances. We need that. And this remake, the Little Mermaid remake, and anything else deserves a full shot. And we have to incentivize these creators in swing for the fences and take a chance. If we don't do that, we're equally a part of the problem. So, it's my view that Peter Pan, coming from Disney as a live-action remake, it's welcomed until it's not good, until it's not worthy of repeat viewing. But I will say this. We still don't know how some of these things land and what traction they get on these apps. They can get rediscovered down the road, and then every single opinion changes. But I at least want to be on the record of saying, by today's standards, Peter Pan has been woke the entire time it's been live action on stage. We've had we've had lots of attempts and remakes and upgrades of Peter Pan, all matter. If you guys want to check out, let me put it up right here. If you guys want to check out a great comic book, it was called the Lost, where the Lost Boys are vampires. That's right there. So, that's a good read, actually. I remember reading that, actually. I was working at the comic shop and had a conversation, and a customer went home, got the issues, brought them back. I read them at the comic shop, and next time he came in, I gave them back with him. It was almost like a rental. But people, Peter Pan, and a lot of these other stories, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Alice in Wonderland, they are worthy of multiple iterations, multiple interpretations, multiple takes. These stories have stood the test of time because they are creator playgrounds, and we have to let these people play. Along the way, there's going to be different things getting inside the material, but that shouldn't ever deter you or take you away from wanting to be proven wrong, sitting down and experiencing something. And if it turns out it went that way, maybe the way of Velma, if it goes down that road, so be it. But at the same time, participating in outrage marketing puts you into the problem. Peter A. DeLuca here. I love you. Subscribe, support, leave a comment.